Is this thing on?
Yep.
Oh, we're on.
We're live.
Skibbity boop bop ba doo scoop a doo boop boo dabbity boop bop ba
So that's your
thing. That's the come up TV. Skibbity boop boop
Little
boop.
jingle.
Because I noticed that's something that they like recommend for podcasts is that you have like a consistent intro. And on the Juan Epstein one, they always go, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
See, this one's way more catchy.
Just-
Skibbity boop bop ba doo doo ba
It's a lot
doo
of
doo boop.
freestyle.
The come up TV.
So you're happy because you have your Ohio compatriot here.
I am.
Button for that, so he doesn't have to sing it. He just hits
The
it.
Ohio
The
button.
same
Just
thing
skibbity
every
boop
time.
Yeah,
boop
yeah.
ba doo boop boo.
Oh, by the way, Edwin De La Rosa. Because we mention him every
Just-
podcast, I'm just going to get out of the way right away.
Got out of the way already.
Just landed down
Got
in
away.
LA.
And he
today.
did just land in LA, and we're going to try to get him on tomorrow, unrelated.
Hoder just sent
But
the
we
warning
have-
message to everybody. Everyone has arrived in LA, and he's coming through the
Oh, that was the
palace.
text message that just came through.
Aaron looked at his phone.
Everybody's
and just
officially
goes,
warned.
Every night, pretty much every night, Brandon will look at me at one point and just be like, Hoder just told me he's going to the bar. And I just look at my phone and be like, God, me too. Fuck. Like, he's always just there tempting you, just knowing that he's just bashing the fucking place in.
But this isn't about Hoder. This isn't about Edwin.
That's a good
nor
point.
is it about us. It is about this man right here,
Tony Neyer.
Ohio's Tony Neyer. Glad to have you.
At what age did you meet Tony
"Right on
Neyer?
me."
Man, I was like 41 or 42. He was like, no, you were probably 15.
Yeah, I was really young. I think we met at like Aggressive Skate for the first
Yeah,
time. Like,
yeah.
actually talked. I might have seen him around before, but I know we like actually had a conversation at the skate park.
My nickname, I gave him, back then I was like really into giving people nicknames, and my nickname, and it is still in my phone as...
Yeah, Street Rider Tony.
Oh,
Street
yeah, for
Rider
BMX
Tony.
board username.
Street Rider
Yeah,
Tony.
because we were at the skate park and we were all riding the whole time. He had like other homies with him and shit. And we were like, "Oh, you gotta come ride street in Cincinnati. Like, you gotta come down." And so I was just like, "Come on!" I, like always talked to my BMX board and shit. So, like,
Oh, so you were the one who gave him the nickname? Or
He became Street Rider Tony, yeah.
and then you
that's-
made that your name on...
he got him to get me my BMX board account. I was like, "You gotta get me on there." dude."
Oh, because this was during the era where it was hard to get one?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
And he fucking hit the dude up, and like I had to like send him like. I think I sent him like 4 pictures of my girlfriend naked or some bullshit because he was like kind of like a weird
Doesn't
dude. I was
surprise
like, I don't
me.
give a
This
fuck,
makes
whatever. I
BMX
got-
board sound like fucking the Illuminati or something.
Well, it kind of was. You just opened registration.
Yeah,
People would dive in.
It's just funny
Kids
that-
are going to be jumping on BMX board now.
It's
seeing
funny to
what
think
it
that
all
there's
is.
any time in
What is
history where
this?
the people were that excited about joining a forum or a BMX forum.
Yeah, but
specifically.
that was all still so new back then, too.
Oh yeah, that
You
was
know?
the first. I remember BMX board because I found it in like 8th grade. That was like one of the first websites I ever found.
I mean,
Yeah.
Midwest BMX, like such a big scene on there. Like I feel like that was like the beginning of web videos. Like you were on
Yeah.
BMX
Oh, yeah,
board and
for
you
sure.
were seeing like you didn't really go to too many other websites. They just linked all things there. You know,
They
what I mean,
killed
around
it
the
for a
world.
while.
Everybody,
Yeah.
it was awesome, dude. Like Brandon Harrison dropping web videos, like all the Jeff K, all those.
Yeah,
dudes.
and
That was,
I
like,
think we
super
were
inspirational.
we're so fortunate looking back, like to be a part of that. Just we were in the right place at the right time. You know, like I was in Ohio, you were there, and then like the Midwest kids would always come through because of Quinn Semling.
Yep.
And
Ohio was thriving at the time,
Yeah,
right?
at the
Yeah.
times with DK and System Cycle doing real well. Like, you know, they brought Catfish in to do all the team stuff. So, like, pretty much like me, I had a bunch of homies that lived in Cincinnati that worked at DK. So I became friends with Catfish pretty quickly. And, like, they're always doing trips in the van. So I was always, like, the young kid trying to jump in and hang out. So it was pretty dope being able to go on, like, the first System trips and shit.
Were you hanging out with
all the-
Chad Shack since a very young age?
Yeah, like, pretty much, like, same thing. Met him at the skate park. He was always back and forth from New York and stuff. And I
it
know-
was such a tight knit group of riders in that part because you had DK in Dayton, and then there was like the Cincinnati kids, and there's so
Cincy
many,
on
so many,
Fire, all
yeah,
those
so many
dudes,
talented
like-
riders have come out of there. Josh Surrey, Chad Shack,
Dave
and then like
Jacobs.
and then you look towards like the Columbus area where you've got like
Ian Schwartz,
you
Eli
know,
Platt,
all
you
those
know.
guys, yeah, Shannon Wilson,
Stephen Hamilton.
And was your first coverage in Shine?
Yeah, I mean, me and the homies were already like kind of filming. Me and my buddy Doug and stuff like that. We were always filming. Like, that's
Shout
the
out to
main
Doug
kid.
Horton.
Doug Horton, yeah.
I rode with him like every day. Like he was the one that drove me to the skate park. You know, him and my buddy Pat like always went to the skate park with them and stuff. But when I met Chad, like me and Chad became real tight, and I started helping him film for stuff, and then he started helping me film for stuff. So I think we went on our first trip together like when they were still doing Shine, but by the time they were doing Shook, like I was already filming for a video part with them and stuff. So
The Great Eviction.
yeah.
So what was the whole story there? You guys all got kicked out of your house and then you just went on a road trip?
There was a Shine House in Cleveland, and that's pretty much like when Chango was booming, dude. Like everybody just hit Chango all day, Chango 1 or 2, and then you would go to the Shine House afterwards and party all night. You know what I mean? Like
That's so crazy. It's so crazy to think that there was an indoor park that was getting that much action because nowadays it's like we would go meet up at the skate park. There could be like a hot skate park or a hot street spot, but it would never would it be a thriving
DVDs
business?
were like popping then, so
Yep.
everybody was like kind of like always bunking up to like film and stuff. So like even like Edwin and those dudes were always in Cleveland trying to hang out with all the Shine dudes and film, and like Jamie Cluse and all those dudes. So when they kind of like started Shook, that was like kind of like they needed to do their own separation of stuff. So Chad and I think Dave and Cody York, first initially started it, and it was cool because like at the time, it was like Shine was like the dope video era.
Yeah.
It was
for
so
Shook,
awesome,
it was
man.
like
It was so sick.
the new wave. Like Chad really wanted to put more motion graphics into
Right.
it, and Dave Jacobs was also getting really good at that stuff. So
Because Props was so sick, but then Shine was like an artsier, more like hardcore street riding version.
I remember
Yeah.
I couldn't wait for the next one.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like Chad really fucking went out of his way to contact other like filmers in areas and like really like got like the up and coming
That's true,
riders.
yeah.
Brad Sims, I
Yep.
remember he booked Brad a bus, and he came to Cincinnati. He just showed up one day and fucking stayed for like 2 weeks. And I mean, that's like me and
Everyone
Brad
with a
became
Shook
best
part.
friends on a Shook trip. you know?
Everyone with a Shook part went pro. It was like uncanny, where there was like a person per issue for like
The first trip we did for Shook, it was me, Chase Dehart, Chase Hawk, Ryan Vincent.
That's right. The under 15. It was like what was it?
That's so
Karl
funny.
Poynter.
Yeah. What was the? It was like
Youth Gone Wild.
Youth Gone Wild.
You were
that's
like a Max
right.
Vu. You were like a little kid pro at one point. That's pretty crazy to think. Cause you got a big old
I was like
facial hair
17,
now.
and I think they were all 16 at the time. But it was cool. They were in Austin when Chad called me, and Chad was like, "Yo, we're leaving Austin now. We're gonna come through Cincinnati and stop and go to my house or whatever. We're gonna swoop you up and drive straight to New York." They showed up at my house at 4 a.m. They had Bostrom with them. Met my parents. My parents had never met any of those motherfuckers. They pretty much just picked me up in the middle of the night, and I got to miss school for like 2 weeks for it. And
What the fuck?
it was pretty sweet, man. It was like
Karl Poynter.
we picked up Chase Dehart in Jersey, so I got to meet Chase for the first time, and then fucking get to see them at a young age, like kicking it. Like they were best friends, like from the get go, dude. Like this dude's like inseparable. You know what I mean?
That's making me feel so old that was like 15 years ago. Because I remember watching the DVD when it first came out and thinking like, oh, this is cool. It's a bunch of young ass kids, even though they were only maybe a year or two younger than me. And now we're all grown ass men. Chase D is like officially like, looks like an old man. Not an old man, but a grown ass man from Jersey,
He's like a thug out there doing.
Yeah,
his
he's got
thing,
fucking
yeah.
kids. He's fucking got a gold chain on and everything.
That shit's boss. You can handle it, dude. That's just G.
Yeah.
So how did everything with Fly? Because that was I think
Yeah, I
that
mean-
was the starting point.
That was your first like real sponsor?
Well, yeah, my homie Matt Miller was like a main, like I think he did international kind of sales at System and kind of ran like stock and stuff like that. So when the design team for DK and other like parts of System Cycle were making products, like my homie Matt was always like, "Yo, dude, you always break cranks. Like here's some cranks, here's a frame, whatever." I've rode like some company called Element, like mad random little companies, but when Fly like stepped into the game, like they were like, we got Ian Schwartz, Anthony Napolitan, I think they had Tyrone.
Biz.
Yeah.
They had
Sergio.
Yeah, that was like I think that was the American team. I don't think Kevin Porter was on the team yet at that point.
Tyrone riding to fucking Lloyd Banks in that in the
Yeah,
in the
oh, yeah,
DVD.
Kevin
Yeah,
was
that's
definitely
right.
on.
Love
He was
that.
on it from the get go.
Oh, he's sick, yeah.
Tyrone's dude, that shit was
The
so
illest
dope.
style.
On that System trip, dude, like fucking got arrested. Ian got arrested on the trip. Like,
That's
Ian Schwartz
right.
got arrested. They cut his shoelaces off. We were like riding this like super dope spot for like 3 minutes, and literally like cops came like flying in, and we were there with like 13 people, and everybody
Everybody's-
just scattered, dude. Like nobody went. We weren't even riding. We were playing CeeLo.
Yeah.
And we were just like doing that shit. And next thing you know, all the cops came and like, everybody took off in all different directions. And just so happened, like Ian just picked the wrong route, and dude, 2 cops got him, fucking swooped him up, took
That
him
pretty
to jail.
it matches up like perfectly with the video too, because doesn't it show you guys playing CeeLo and then boom, like Ian's coming out of jail and his
Yeah.
fucking shoes aren't even laced up?
What's also funny because that was like we paired that trip up. Well, it was like the System Cycle, and then we had some DK shows lined
Yeah,
up.
we did.
So we actually did
We did a show for the Special Olympics, like
halftime show
It was
for
like Sergio, Mad Dog, Steve Cuesta, Quinn Semley,
Kevin
Biz
Porter.
Jordan.
It was
It was pretty much like the whole squad had to go, but it was
Tyrone-
it was one of the
Tyrone
coolest
was
things
in the
I've ever
shows,
done.
too.
They had a whole. This was like the halftime show for one of the things, and they loved it, dude.
That
Like,
was
Mad
insane.
Dog
It
was like
insane.
8, 9.
Yeah, he was
Dude,
9.
He was
He
so
was
young,
9.
Crazy good.
just
9.
little kid, just backflip in the big box. You know what I mean?
was
He was
losing
crazy. He was just in the. Those kids love that shit. So that
We
was,
did a lot of shows too, huh? I did a
Yeah.
lot of shows with
Yeah.
you.
I pretty much like 45 minutes from my house where I grew up is like the DK hay rides where the System Cycle is and shit, and like pretty much like every October, we would do they would do shows there, and pretty much like I would always ask to do them because I had family close there, and it made you like a couple $100 in a weekend, and you know, it was like always kind of fun. So we did tons of shows. We traveled for shows, but
Yeah.
you know, those were like the more fun ones. You know what I mean? I never like I would be home from Cali and I would still try to go meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like my cousins and shit love that shit.
How'd you end up leaving Fly for Sputnik?
I'm going to introduce Aaron Brenner.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Incredibly
I
rude on our
apologize. I apologize.
I was thinking, I'm like,
well,
Aaron
we
doesn't
got-
have anything to say about this because he's
We
not
got
from
wrapped
Ohio.
up. I apologize, Aaron.
Definitely not part of this part.
Yeah. I was like sitting here for a second. I was like, I gotta introduce my mans real quick.
Yeah.
But
Well, if you ever seen Tony Neyer's roll call section, there's a little like BFF moment in there where Brenner has the guest clip and he goes, "That boy Brenner." All up in the
that
camera.
whole
It's like,
situation is funny because we went to that rail and like I did want to do what I did, but I was like, I was like, fuck, I was like, shit, like, am I gonna do this right now? I was kind of like getting my head straight on it and shit. And Aaron had talked about doing something too, and like pretty much like he just called the shot on going first. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, dude. Like you're gonna do this, I'm gonna do mine. And literally like he did the fucking hang 5 hanger down it, and those things had those crazy uprights.
Yeah.
Dude, and he got bucked like 3 or 4 times. It was crazy, and like. You know, it's just kind of like those kind of moments like that shit's sick. Like even the filmers like getting the fuck down. It's like Stu was there helping.
you got to
two
assume that's the
angles,
first
like-
hanger tooth down a rail, right? I mean, I'm assuming, right?
What'd you say?
It's got to be the first hanger tooth down a rail, right?
Yeah, a foot or
Yeah,
hang 5 hanger or whatever. Yeah, it was definitely
down a
one of
rail,
the-
yeah,
No
definitely
matter
down a
what, it
rail.
was definitely one of the gnarlier ones that you could do. Because like that, like those poles that definitely just catch you up. We had Monster Dog with us, dude. It was like
Who's
a
Monster
nice little-
Dog?
That was my other roommate Paul's dog
Oh,
at the time.
okay.
You know what I mean? But we were just having a little kickback at the rail, dude. That.
You need to bring in vicious animals to the spot to protect you.
So not only is this gentleman a good friend of yours, but he's also a business partner now.
Yep. Me and Brenner have been like, collaborating for years on just ideas together. You know what I mean? We do before anything. We did the trip. You know what I mean? Then Brenner got a job at Primo, and we all did that forever. And now Brenner stepped back from that, and me and him were collaborating on doing, the shop together. And it's more of a showroom. It's more of just us, broadcasting. The Trip, Peep Game, Cement Face.
Yeah, I was going to say, what brands technically are involved with
it's
it?
Trip, Peep Game, Cement Face, Gully Factory. The Block is its own like technical brand too. We're reaching out to other BMXers, but
Came up.
definitely came up. That's all brand new. You know what I mean? No one's even seen that shit yet. It's about to drop. It's about to be hot, dude. He's hyped to promote, so it's gonna be good for him. We're excited to help him do more stuff, right? And we're excited to help all these guys do more stuff. It's like we as a group we do make a lot of our own garments. We do a lot of sewing, patches, fucking beanies, we do sublimated socks. We do a bunch of different things, and I think this showroom is going to give us a chance to let kids know, like we're putting a lot of TLC into this, and we really want them to be psyched on it. You know what I mean?
How long have you been working on? Well, how long have you guys been screen printing or doing all the manufacturing and stuff?
We pretty much got Aaron's always kind of been in the sewing end of it. He's been tailoring our jeans for fucking ever. He's
really?
Like he's really he can make anything out of it with a fucking thread and needle. But Peep Game's doing really well, Trip's doing really well, and you think about the brands, they spend a lot of money on making garments, and like we're already helping a little bit, but if we came together and grouped up, like we really could fucking A, save some money, and B, like make our garments more respectable. So it's like since like pretty much the middle of October, we made our decision that me and Aaron, like Steve-O was there, we just were like, it's time for us to like step the game up and start doing more with the brands and stuff like that. And it's funny, it's only been 6 months, and the showroom is us fucking not slowing down. It's us like taking a chance, and it's like even though we might not be totally ready for it, it's like this is gonna make us ready for whatever else we're gonna do, because we're reaching out to other people, not just BMX companies. We're doing local restaurants, barbershops, anything like that. So we wanted something people could come to and like feel like it's not out of a garage.
Right, it was out of a
doesn't-
garage
yeah,
before,
it was out
right?
of the back of our house. That's technically how we got started. You know what I mean? We managed to pay for all of our machines by saving rent on having the garage. You know what I mean? And the house is amazing in general for just a workspace. We got the whole backyard. We did this tie dye there. We do. We got tons of different ways of doing different things.
See, I support this so much on so many levels. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased by being a BMX rider, but I think
And
the
he's on the
fact
trip.
Like you need to stay.
Yeah,
You're on this
and
podcast. You're probably a BMX rider, unless otherwise noted.
But I think this is a good example of how to make BMX bigger and better.
Exactly, yep.
They're consolidating. These are legitimate BMX brands. Every single brand that he named have a crew of riders behind them that have their heart and soul behind this. Yeah. And I think if more BMX riders worldwide are able to understand this, hey, you know what, I'm not knocking skate brands, but it's like, hey, if you want to really help BMX, and you're getting something that's handmade, why not support these legitimate BMX brands?
Well, you
know?
see that with all the skate companies that there's so much culture out here, and there are so many like different things that people within the skate community have managed to start. Even like the bars that we go to, some of them are skater owned and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know, BMX has been lacking in that regard. But you guys were just talking about Ohio, and that just makes me think about like there were these indoor parks. There was like a bunch of different bike companies and distros
BMX
and stuff.
has gone through
and
so many different
and the
phases.
scene was huge as a result. You know, it was like people were making the pilgrimage there. And I don't know what Ohio is like now, but
events in general just bring communities together, and that's something that's why me and Catfish are such good friends, because we did, no matter if you were healthy or not, you made it to the flow contest and you fucking partied and you rode your best if you were able to, and if you weren't, you supported the ones that were always trying to ride. Like, I think like, the flow is such a huge space, and everybody made it out for that. Like, dude, I met so many people there, dude, and I made a lot of my BMX connections from just by traveling to different cities like Changa, like Flow, and like, being cool and just riding the
and
bike
meeting
and
kids that are trying to start their companies that are selling T-shirts. You know, like they've got a team rider, they've got a rad dude that's behind it. You want to support them. Put the money right back in their pocket. That keeps the cycle going.
There's nothing like, just having a storefront in the first place, because then it gives people a chance to really interact with you. But there's nothing that's better for your brand than, them actually getting to meet you or see what you're about, or even if it's just people on the team.
We're seeing that really fast, just from the locals that are in our neighborhood. Like, it's like every day they're just going to stop by. Even if they're not going to buy anything or not, they're still just like excited to come kick it.
It's a catalyst. You're starting a catalyst.
We got
the same way
videos playing. We're always in there. It's always down to chop it up with BMX. You want to try to learn something? You want to pick our brains, dude? We're here for the community, and we want to do event-based things, that help raise awareness for the athletes and the artists that we're always working with. Like, these dudes are fucking, they're worth bragging about. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm hyped to give us a spot to fucking, call our own. It's a clubhouse, it's a showroom, it's a print shop, it's a fucking plotter area. You know what I mean?
It's so much easier for people to like really understand your brand or whatever. But because we all know that everybody can have a T-shirt company and everybody could have a fucking website for a couple $100, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, it definitely.
But I think I speak on behalf of all four of us at this table that after moving out to California, you have a different view of what you thought fashion was. Yeah. And especially the industries that you guys are in. How has that changed? I mean, how do you view it now?
I mean, dude, we've learned so much in the past 6 months. It's crazy just being able to be around the city of Los Angeles and like how everything is brought here, like, all the time. So realistically, you can do anything you want day to day. You don't have to wait here, So for us, like, we're meeting different, garment makers and different kinds of processing, and we're finding different ways of doing things. And we're running into other more popular brands than us, and it's nice to know that, we're working right in the same area, right in the same space as a lot of these big brands. And it's, it's like when we ever make to the thousands and thousands of garments, like, we're already in production line of making that happen. You know what I mean? And, if somebody were to come onto us and try to make Trip or something more of a household name brand for just random people, like, we're going to be ready for that moment,
Or picture you're talking to like a guy in the skate industry or a big name skater or something, and he's like, oh, like, what are the BMX shops in LA? Or what are the BMX shops in your area? And if there are just none, then what does that really say about the BMX scene? It makes the scene look fucking weak. Small, looks whack as fuck. And it's not that there are no bike shops. Obviously, there's plenty of bike shops like that are doing stuff. But I mean, there needs to be brands that are out there doing cool shit and like putting it in a kid's face.
As locals to the area, we see the ONSOMESHIT store doing this thing. It's like you can't miss it. We come to the rides. It's fun. We want to do the same idea. We want to give kids other things to do, Like,
and I imagine, as a kid,
groups,
and imagine as a 15-year-old kid that you ride, you come to their shop, you ride with them, you ride the flat rail out front with them. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, you're gonna support them.
And think about it from or from the perspective of like, I just think it's sick that like basically, arguably, like the two of the bigger BMX crews in LA both have like retail presences now. I mean, that's what says something really good, because that hasn't existed maybe ever in LA BMX. I guess I mean, it's fucking.
And that's gonna give kids they can come in and get a feel for everything we're talking about.
And it's not some weirdo industry dudes who are just like starting a business or whatever. It's like actually the riders who are hanging out.
That's a testament to their hustle that other kids see that. And no offense, but like, we're all just pieces of shit BMX riders.
Maybe you more than everybody else.
More than me, just because I'm old. But I mean, talk about inspiration too. Like, I'm sure kids have already come up to you like, holy shit, like, you guys did it. Like, you opened a shop in LA,
Think about it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the kids are hype. We have one kid that has probably brought
You want to get right in the mic.
Sorry, we
You
have
put the
like
chair down, too.
one customer's probably brought 12 different homies through, like, and every time he shows up with 4 different homies, and he's like,
Yeah.
He's more got the secret spot. Like a lot of the kids maybe don't have Instagram or not very on very often, and like they are just out riding their bikes on the street. They maybe don't have an idea for BMX culture, but at least our little homies are running around like, you know, they're trying to bring it. And like, dude, the way Eben painted the place is,
It does.
It's
Very
like
nice.
it's for kids. You know what I mean? Everything we're doing is for kids. So we wanted to give them a place that they can, you know, even their parents feel like this is a good thing. You know what I mean? This is art. This is beautiful. We had we had a jewelry maker come in with her son, and she was just blown away and like, totally wants to collaborate on something. We're another thing we haven't really gotten to talk about is like we're gonna do lots of events, you know, and like not just like, you know, jams. We're gonna do, you know, frame releases. I'll do a video release for your local web video. You know what I mean? If you're even a local homie and you're trying to come up, like the block's got your back. You know what I mean? We're here to help raise awareness for BMX in as many ways as possible. So it's just like that's for our own selves and that's for like, you know, everybody in general. You think about all these little crews that, you know, Chocolate Truck and all these, they're so dope. You know, they're out there filming. You know, like that's happening all over the world, and these little kids, you know, and they're trying to be like the Trips and the ONSOMESHITs and the fucking Peep Games. And
I was hyped when I saw the Time Warner Happy Birthday billboard because I was just like, dude, fucking Time Warner deserves to be wished happy birthday via billboard. You know? Because in LA, people probably don't even know that, but in LA, there's like many like skate billboards that you'll just see around town, and it's sick as fuck because it's not like some lame shit either. It's fucking, you know, someone dope doing something sick, and it's like, imagine how much of an effect that has on kids that Red Bull is putting up the money for that or whoever, you know?
Yeah, and it kind of also leaves, like, you know, what's next, too, you know, for, like, even a kid looking at, like, you know, I had a long conversation with this homie from Germany, and he was talking about, you know, a magazine going out, and it's how it bummed him out because he's like, you know, I want a photo in a magazine, you know, and it's like, and he wants that because it's something he can hold on to or, like, feel that moment, you know what I mean? And for us and the billboard, it's like, you know, we're going to be able to raise awareness to anything we want. And, you know, that billboard could be that one moment that you're like, fuck, yes, like that's me now. Like, you know what I mean? Because we're not going anywhere. And over the years, it's only going to get better. So it's just like, you know, the doper we make it now, the doper it's going to be for all of us, you know?
But just BMX in general, too. I mean, like, there needs to just be more fucking shit going on in general. That's what everybody can agree on. And it sucks because some of, like, the more established people in the industry and stuff are kind of sitting on their hands because there's not a lot of money flying around, and like the business is at a presumably at a lull.
But again, you know, as much as I'll complain about the current state of BMX in some regards, you have stuff like this where it's a good example of, like, you know, in the early 90s when BMX was pretty much dead, the riders took control of it. That's where all these rider-owned companies started from.
That's a
All
good
these
question.
rider-run-
Can you see a parallel?
Oh, absolutely.
Because you lived through that era. Can you see that like
Absolutely.
BMX got small and then all the companies got serious, and that's what kind of brought it
Oh,
up
for
again?
sure. And
When I was
mean,
a kid, like Catfish he drove me to a UGP contest. I got to see how, like, you know, rooted we could be. You know, there was everybody hustling out of boxes, and, you know, everyone was there partying and psyched on riding and hyped to go hang out later that night. And I just think, like, those are the fucking times.
For sure. That's when, you know, especially in this
was
day and age
hustling.
where everything is so internet-based, when you get to meet Tony Neyer in person, that changes everything for you. He's got a signature part. You're going to probably buy it.
Because it's not just about like getting kids into BMX, but it's also about making BMX dope enough that the culture is rich enough that kids like want to keep riding BMX once they're 21 or 25 or whatever. Because, you know, it seems like it would be easier in skate with that because it's like there's a lot to it. There's a lot to the culture, and there's a lot to pay attention to. And I mean, people just need to make the shit doper, you know, like in terms of right now.
And we're in Los Angeles, and, like, you know what I mean, we're technically the center of a lot of things. So it's just like, for us, it's like we can't lose the moment now. It's like, you know, for me and Aaron, it's like, you know, and Peep Game and Trip, it's just like we're just trying to, you know, just
Get in the mic a little more.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we're just trying to fucking, you know, just more on the hustle side, I guess. I mean, maybe that's just, those dudes, Trip been killing it, Peep Game been killing it, and me and Aaron stepping up to the plate on this end is just us trying to pull our part, you know what I mean? And help them, and then help other people get bigger, and, you know, the block's gonna be awesome, dude. And we're gonna hold little art events. We want kids to fucking learn different lifestyle trades from different industries at the block. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
We'll bring in, you know, different designers and different, you know, artists that just make you just more, rounded person, not just BMX. It's maybe these dudes like BMX,
Yeah.
It's just, it just gives people different things to do. I want to give little BMX homies a place to bring their girlfriends sometime, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or at least,
it's cool.
Yeah,
dude.
just giving them something to hold on to, so it's not everything just up in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
How would you describe the LA BMX street riding scene to people that have never been here?
Seems good lately. I mean, I've only lived here in LA for a year and a half, but I mean, it's fucking awesome right now.
If you know where to go, dude, like.
Oh, in terms of just spots, yeah. Skate
spots for
parks,
sure,
unbelievable. Street, unbelievable.
But it's funny when people come in town, like they're like, "Oh, where does everybody hang out?" It's like, dude, it's LA. It's so big.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's everywhere. It's just like you gotta like hit the few main strips, and like you're gonna hit mad little homies. You're gonna.
I'm
Find
still
kids.
blown away at the street rides. The first street ride that I went
Those
to,
are
there's
awesome.
like
300 people out here and
150
shit. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's like that could happen every month. Like it happens all the time. I mean, skate park jams. Like you could do a skate park jam, then if everybody promoted it, have like 300, 400 people come out in LA, and that's unbelievable.
Yeah. And as as each of our events get bigger, it's just going to just create more of like a community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where's your shop?
Community.
Where's your shop located at?
We're at 1108 North Kenmore. It's just off Santa Monica Boulevard, 1.3 miles from the 101 and 1.3 miles from the Santa Monica and Vermont train.
Boom.
Amazing.
Okay, get up
I
there.
think that the question that got us here was, how'd you get off Fly and get on Sputnik? And somehow we ended up here.
Yeah.
I rode for Fly for 5 years, and I was on like the flow team, and they brought me over to Barcelona once for like a month-long trip with Dylan Smith, and we went like on an RV and just traveled all over Spain, and that was really awesome. It was like when I was like 18, and then I was on for a few more years, and pretty much just they actually bumped me to pro and brought me on like a trip, you know what I mean? And like they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna fucking fly you to Austin. You're gonna shoot your first ad, and like you're welcome to the team, And like I was hyped, and I got to go to Austin, and like I went out, hung out with all the homies, you know what I mean, and ended up like shooting the photo, and like I don't even want to name names or whatever, but it's not. I mean, I don't even give a shit. It's not.
Wait,
even,
was this a good story? What happened?
Yeah, so
That sounds good.
It's
all
not
of a
like
sudden.
anything, at the time for me, I was like, 20 years old, 21 years old. It was like more for me. Like I was like, like it came out, I thought I was going to be filming. I thought we were going to shoot some photos. I was going to get to run my first ad. It was supposed to be a rim ad, for like the new whole rim. And I came out and I did like this like rail hop over a guardrail and like to another parking lot. And then like the photographer shot it and like we went back and he's like, I really kind of want to shoot again. I'm like, okay. So I go back the next day. I jump over this thing 9 more times. Don't, manage to get away every time and like, whatever. He's like, all right, I think I got one, I was like, cool. Go back to the house. Everyone's chilling. Devin Hutchins is there. I think we were staying at Aaron Ross's house or something at the time. And he's like, you want to go ride? I'm like, yeah, let's go ride. Go ride. And like, now I'm trying to shoot a photo with him. And like, while I was shooting a photo with him, I just like tried this like crazy double rail hop and like tagged my back end and got murked. You know what I mean? This is like 20 minutes after I just did that. And I come back to the house and I'm just like beat up and I'm just like sitting on the couch and I was like, oh yeah, like I want to see that ad. Like, hey, did you guys finish that ad? And like, he's like, yeah, you want to see it? And I go upstairs and like he pulls out his computer and he shows it to me and it's like the homie fucking going around a berm.
So you got left behind on this one?
Yeah, it was
How come?
like I thought it was gonna be a rim ad for me or whatever. Like welcome to the team. He's like, oh damn, the photo just wasn't that good. Like da da da. And I was just kind of like, all right, well I'm hurt now. Like,
so you were over it, or all of a sudden?
Yeah, I went home and I just wrote David an email and just told him like, I appreciate you trying to bump me up and like I've been here for like 5 years, but it's like at this point for me for what you're offering, it's just like. I don't even care about any of this. It's like, I thought that was bullshit to me. And like the homie hit me up and asked if I was bummed because of that. And like, it was just a mix of a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? It was 5 years later on the flow team. Like it was cool. Like Fly was going in a bunch of different directions. I was on I was riding street and I go on trips and they're all riding parks all the time. And that's cool. But it's like, for me,
you weren't
I
a
would just
berm
be
guy.
like,
You weren't a berm guy, and at the time
He
they
does
were
have
mostly berm
he
guys.
does have great tail whips on quarters.
I do like doing tail whips.
True.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this is jumping ahead a little bit. Let's talk about the from nothing section with the fucking biggest tail whip. Like I was talking about it in front of Stevie, and I said, Neyer did one of the biggest fucking tail whips ever, and Stevie's eyes lit up. He's like, let's see it. And I watched it. I didn't get a chance to show him, but like, and what really sucks is that there was an amazing photo of it in a magazine, but the fucking long lens, which is like the one that shows how big it was, got lost, right?
Yeah, it was There was a ride. There was a built to, or I don't even know what it was. It was Red Bull fucking
Built to
Backyard
shred.
build-off.
backyard build
Matt
off at
Bischoff
Matt
shit?
Bischoff's
Yep.
backyard. And at the time, my creation was like popping. You know what I mean? I was like the younger kid on my creation. Jeff Z was getting flown out for to come cover the Red Bull contest, and literally like Dave was already out in California, and Dave like told Z to like reach out to me and see if I have anything I want to shoot while I'm there. Like he was gonna fly in a few days early, so fucking just he flew in a few days early, and I actually had Larry Alvarado and Justin Herringer also visiting at the same time. They were staying with me for like the same kind of event, and my I had been like looking at jumping that. My homie actually jumped it like 2 years before I even like jumped it. You know what I mean? And I was kind of like, maybe I could trick it. Like, you know what I mean? And I kind of called it out to Z, sent him a photo of what it looked like. My dad actually built, like he didn't actually build it, but my dad was like the general contractor on the whole area of it.
Really?
Being built. Yeah. So
That's not street. No.
Yeah, I guess not. He meditated.
Your dad has a job 10 years beforehand.
Joe Neyer is the man, by the way. Joe Neyer. Shout out to Big Joe.
That's
Yeah,
like if
my
you
dad's-
plant a tree in front of a ledge and then you like hop the tree into the ledge. Just like, is that street? You
Yes.
premeditated?
Kind of.
So yeah, I don't know, like that whole 2 days I had Z, it was like, for me, it was like, I felt like it was one of my first real opportunities, and plus I was like wrapping up the From Nothing part, so it was like, for me, I knew those 2 days was like, it's game time, and like literally like, I think we shot 7 photos that day, and they're like all my last bangers of that like edit or whatever.
Were you really like that good at tail whips, or was that just you sending it?
Totally sending it. I could like definitely, if I was at the park or over a set of trails or a wedge or something, like at the time I'm doing a tail whip, I'm probably gonna land it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But that thing was
That
big.
thing and how I got sent and how I managed to roll away from that, I don't know, dude. I don't think I would definitely ever do it again. You know what I mean? Because you could see the photo. I'm like spread out, like, you know what I mean? Like I've whipped big shit, but that was like long and mellow, like, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know, I jumped it once, and Z was like, I came back up, he was like, dude, that's dope, but my homie already jumped it, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, fuck it, I was like, guess
One
what,
of 'em.
tail whip.
That's what it's
And
about.
He's like, do it, and literally I just went to the top of the hill, and I just didn't even think about it, I just turned around and fucking just did it, landed the first trials.
You've always had pretty good relationships with media professionals, I guess you could say, huh? But since like, you had the Chad Shack relationship, you and Douglas Horton, you had the banger in that video.
And I'm lucky I had good friends growing up, Dave Jacobs and Chad
Button
and
Deck, too.
Doug Horton, like, like those dudes through networking, through friends, Catfish, all these people that just helped me meet new people, and like, and I'm pretty friendly, outgoing, I kind of
Again, that's what we talked
getting
about
drunk.
before. Like I remember when I would introduce, like I remember the first time it was like we went out, and he's like 16. We go to like a bar, and he would just go up to every single girl in the bar and just talk to them for a split second, and then walk away and walk away. So within like 10 minutes, he had already talked to every girl in the bar.
When you meet a guy that can do that can go make friends with every girl in the bar, you know you have a fucking problem on your hands right there.
I can remember going to this place called Annie's, and I was 17, and I was in my junior year of high school, and I was going to the bar with Kevin Miller, Matt Miller, Corey Muth, and like you and other homies that were like way older than me. I had my brother's ID, and I just would go and just get drunk with them on Sunday nights, and like it's just like so funny. Like the people I was hanging out with then is like still like so relevant in my life. Like Corey Muth and Steve Buddendeck, like with Verde bikes, like they keep me 100. I couldn't be happier to be riding for a company out of Ohio, and like these dudes, I've watched them build their own brands even before I was even a spectator for their brands. They were always nice to me, and they're always my homies. And like, I mean, we didn't even talk about how I even got on Sputnik, but when I left Sputnik, I decided I hit them up, and Will Stroud, I was just like, I don't know who I want to ride for or what I want to do or whatever, but I'm definitely, if you guys are interested in having me, I'll ride for you guys, and we'll figure it out, Because I didn't really want to be like just like trying to get on any different thing. I wanted to feel like I'm from Ohio, Cincinnati. Like Verde's out there. When I get to go home, I get to go to Columbus to work for stuff. I'm only an hour from my parents' house, so it's like kind of makes it nice to be able to. When I go home and visit them, I get to knock out a bunch of stuff there.
Okay, hold on. Who's out there? Oh, God damn it. It's like so loud you can fucking hear it. Yeah.
No.
Like they can't come in because they're not going to be quiet.
Murray, are you okay? Are they bothering you?
We
Okay.
gotta get them out of here though. They can't. Like the bar's fucking next door, right?
Yeah, tell them to go to the bar for 10 minutes.
All right, sorry people. Edwin and Hoder, extremely drunk, just showed up outside. We had to go say hi to him.
It's Edward's,
Shout out to the
Edwin's
legends.
birthday. We got a little party to go to later.
We mentioned Eben right away, but I mean, then he
He's
showed
here
up.
now.
It was on his motherfucking way.
I guess that's why we talk about it so much. He said he might do the show.
What if that happened? We just started saying people's names and they showed up.
Could you
Jason
see it?
Levy, Jason Levy, Jason Levy, Jason Levy.
Ice money.
Half cap gunshots.
Half cab gunshots. You ever think about doing a half cab with a gun in your hand?
I'll leave it up to him. He's pretty amazing at it.
One of the best parts in your From Nothing video is when you pick up this small brown child and you're just like carrying her around and shaking her. What was the situation surrounding this?
I mean, Cincinnati is just so crazy, and over the Rhine, like downtown, like it's just like the outskirts. It's like all these old like areas and like tons of ledges and stuff like that. So we were always down there like riding and stuff, and like the little kids, like they just aren't
Everywhere.
bothered by you. They're like, you're in our hood, so they're just like jumping on your pegs, always trying to like hang out with you and stuff like that. So I mean, that particular day, I don't know, those little kids were already like climbing on me a few times. I think we have like 4 other clips, and I think at the end of the video, actually like the kid like falls off the front of my bike, and I end up like kind of running on over for a second.
That's amazing.
It's pretty funny.
What at what point would you say that you actually made the move from Midwest to Long Beach?
Well, I was in college for a little while, and I was working in the city. So pretty much, I was like working in the city, like, and I was like making enough money to go to Long Beach and stay with Bosham or Dave for a month or two, and then I would come back and work for a little bit, and then like kind of just bounce back and forth. So I wasn't like staying for too long and whatnot.
Did it strike you as like a BMX paradise that you wanted to be a part of even then?
I just think like at the time, like my creation was just such everything for me that I was like, I'm always trying to be with Dave. I'm always trying to be filming. That's like when Eric L was getting on, and he was always out there riding. And like for me, just like the weather in Cincinnati, it was just like, all my homies are in Cali, so I guess I should just go out there whenever I can to just get as much done as I can, and it worked. It was awesome. I loved it, and like getting the bounce back and forth. I liked being close to my parents and like helping them out when I could. So it's just like I didn't really fully commit to Long Beach until I was probably about 23, and then I wanted to be there full time. You know what I mean?
What made you make the move to LA? Because people probably are like, oh, it's the same fucking place. It's actually incredibly different,
Yeah,
even though it on a map they're right
It's an
side by
hour
side.
away.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if like there was ever a moment like I'm moving to LA. I just like ended up coming out here so much, and it just like for me, I was like I'm tired of like going back and forth. I want to ride every day, and it's just like I got a taste of California for the first time when I was 17 on a little BMX trip, and I was just like like this is where it's at, And over time, and it's like I love Cincinnati, but even with like opening our new shop, it's just like I've committed to the city. I like it here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love back home, and I always go back home. But like for me, it's like there's a lot of life here, and there's a lot of opportunities here, and I like I want to be able to be in a place to take advantage of stuff like that. So.
You also did a really amazing Fufanu on a natural tranny and From Nothing that for some reason I was curious about. What the fuck is up with that spot?
That's that was actually the same day I did the tailwhip. That was like the first thing we did. Me and Larry Alvarado went there the night before and quick created the very bottom of it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering
because
if skaters did that or not.
It's a drainage ditch like right by my parent, like right down the street from my parents' house, and pretty much like it's been quick created a bunch of times, but those like huge gates like drop water, like flood water out at some point. I guess when it rains it builds up or whatever, but whenever that happens, it tears out all the concrete. It tears out all the quickcrete that people put in so you could ride it. So that night, me and Larry went down there and made it all nice because he was going to be there the next day. And it was just like, that was the first thing we planned. And I mean, that thing is just like the dopest, like random little half pipe.
Oh, yeah.
It's still there, still rideable. A lot of like, I think,
But not quick created? Like
it gets quick created. Like skaters are quick created. Like at the time, I mean, maybe I don't know if it's still like that now, but at the time there was like once a week it would be quick created, because it's that dope. If it's dry out, what I mean?
What about that Pegs Gap crook that you did too? That was pretty notable.
Yeah, I was in Nashville, and that was like one of the last trips for it. And actually, I did. I was with Nathan Williams and Corey and my other homie Chris and a few other G's, and pretty much I tried to do double peg to Duster like 20 times, and I didn't have have 3 pegs on. I had only done one cricket grind at this point, like down a real rail. I'd done cricket grinds, but like one I actually liked and filmed. I had only filmed one before this, and like I was more on like trying to do Derek Dusters anyways. So, but it had a kink, and like I tried for like an hour and a half trying to like get through the kink, like double peg to Derek Duster down.
Right.
But actually the kink was starting to break. So eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna try to put a peg on and like just land crook instead of the Derek Duster. And, like,
A crook is a much less complicated Derek Duster.
yeah, like the Derek Duster, you gotta like let it rock forward and like lean back, and it's just
Through
like,
a kink, it seems like it would be.
yeah, the second I leaned back, I'd hit the kink and flip over. So to put the peg on, and actually I think I poured it like second or third try after that.
How did you feel about the intro to Nice Try when you tell that kid you're going to rip his fucking head off? I was watching all these old parts and I was just like, man, that is a funny fucking clip because they really make you look like a hothead by putting that in there, you know?
Yeah, but we were fucking at that spot for hours, and I was trying to do this line to Derek Duster up the rail, and like just couldn't really do it. And like,
Can somebody tell them to shut the fuck up out there? Seriously, they need to go to the bar or something. All right, so what about like, okay, as long as we're on the topic of Nice Try, what about like doing the first un-luc-e rail? How many times you bang your backpack going on
actually,
that?
I got clipped up a few times on that one. I think Z was on that trip, and like he showed us that rail, and like that's the same rail like dudes do a bunch of shit on deadlines in Arizona and whatever. But as soon as I saw the rail, I had done like some un-luc-e grinds on like ledges earlier in that trip or whatever. That trick was kind of coming out, you know what I mean, at the time, and like when I saw that rail with no uprights, it just like it seemed perfect for it, you know what I mean, and like that trick's funny because you kind of like anti hop. You know what I mean? You don't fully bunny hop. You kind of like have to leave your back end sag, and so like I got like I hit my pedal like going up onto it like twice and like just fucking got sent. You know what I mean? But it's funny now. Like I don't know. It worked out like a few tries later. But that shit. I don't know. It just particular for me. Like I like particular spots for particular things. You know what I mean? And some spots are just meant for certain things to go down, and you know, just trying to use the spot as best as you can.
What trick gives you the most trouble?
Trouble?
Probably the ones that we don't see him do, yeah. That's probably
Annual 180s.
It's a question from...
Oh, that's a question from a fan. No, how about this question? Was the hanger that you did in Roll Call the biggest hanger you've ever done? The one in Austin?
Nah, I think probably the one I had the cover of with.
yeah,
that's probably the biggest one.
Well, that's its own question.
I think I was
right
wearing
there.
this shirt when I did it actually.
The hanger.
The DAC shirt of him icing it.
Okay, well,
doing a hanger or whatever actually.
Oh damn,
Yeah.
that gave you the fucking power.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I got my boy Dak with me. He survived. I'ma survive. Yeah, 6
What kind of
tries
shirt
later.
is that? What kind of shirt is that?
It's a dance tee.
Oh, hell yeah.
But
Look at Dakota.
We tie-dyed it ourselves. You know, I pretty much white tees get played fast. So it's like
Okay.
This one means something to me, so like I like keeping it. Made it nice.
Let's hear the story about the hanger ride cover because that's actually more notable than the one in Austin, I guess.
Yeah, I blame Aaron mostly for that one.
Well, this was your idea.
He threw me under the bus.
Yeah, we had been there like a couple months before, and just like under his breath, Tony was like, "Yo, I'd like to hanger this thing one day." And it was when I was still working at Primo to Plus, and Z had hit me up, and he's like, "Yo, trying to come out with you guys on Saturday." Me and Tony had went to the bar the night before, and it was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, "Yo, Tony, Z's coming out tomorrow. What about that rail?" And he like looks at me like, "Don't ever talk to me like that again." And we went out, and it was actually a pretty good day. Like Eric L got a clip that's in the Stranger video. Miles got a clip that's in the Stranger video. People were getting clips, and Tony was like, "Let's go to the rail."
Yeah.
You know, he kind of came to me. We got kicked out of the school by the cops, and he's like, "Let's go to the rail." And I don't think anybody else with us even knew that that's why we were going there. We just kind of got there.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I mean, when something like that, it's like, yeah, I would like to do this, but it's like, yeah, it has to be the right time, right moment, right amount of people, mostly good angles, a really dialed photo is about to be shot, you know what I mean? And like, when you got fucking Miles, Aaron Brenner, you know, Jeff Z, you got Augie there for the supportation, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know,
For people
you
who
can't
don't-
pass that out. You can't miss those opportunities when you got every angle covered. You know, you got to step up to the plate and put it on the line.
For people who don't know, that rail it's kind of like a normal rail, but then it's like 2 feet taller than every other rail you've ever seen in your life. So it's
you're
like
cooking at it when you're coming out.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's a
awesome.
whole different game plan. We went and looked at it one day, and it was just like fuck. Like literally, it's kind of like the new El Toro because it's kind of El Toro sized, but then anything you do on it, like if you were to do, you know, Dak iced it, but it's like the craziest ice ever because it's so high. Like
So high.
I was actually with Dakota in Japan when you toothed it, and he got the text, and he was just like, "Well, I'm glad somebody legit like Neyer had to one up me."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't even anything like that. It's just more of just, you know, I was hyped, just to put my own name on it like that. You know what I mean? It's like the rail is just so known. A lot of people have done things on it. I think Josh Heino did something on it back in the day, possibly.
Oh, really? He might have pegged it?
Yeah, might have. I think maybe from nothing, not from Nowhere Fast. I think he might have pegged it way back in the day.
Wow.
Biz would have the answer
Could
to
be
that.
wrong.
Biz would know.
I don't know, but just that rail is just you see it. It's just like for me, I've always liked doing big hangers. Always like try to see how far you can take it, and for that one, it was like. It's just the day had to be right, and that day was just more of just people were getting the fuck in. It was nice out.
Did you kind of assume it was going to be the cover?
No, not at all. I actually just like I said, I was more thrown into the situation. The photo wise, it's like Z's going to shoot it however he's going to shoot it. You don't really have much say in that. I wasn't really thinking mostly about that. It's more just like how many times it's going to take to pull. And
how many tries did it take?
It took 6 tries.
And what happened on 1 through 5?
First try, I don't even know how I didn't clip my rear peg, my rear switch peg. I just landed and ran out of it, and then I was like, all right, I gotta dive in steeper. And then the next try, I the whole thing just almost over my front end, just hanging the whole thing. And as soon as I land, I slam into the ground. And then another try, I clip. Another try, I do the tooth and then over crank, and I just barely tap. And then
What's this footage going to end up in?
It's going to be for my frame promo for Verde.
Okay.
So, yeah, me and Aaron have been stacking for, quite some time on, even for when we had the trip video, we had a lot of footage we saved because, a lot of it was HD, So we've been, kind of stacking for the promo for a while. We're probably going to keep it short and sweet, but it's going to be pretty, we got a couple ideas for how we're going to market it and stuff like that, so.
Was, in roll call, were you mad at Wes for getting in the way after you did your crazy gap to rail banger?
I just couldn't even believe it. I was
He's dancing around in the end zone.
The funny thing is, I came there the night, I was same thing. I got there on the trip. I think we went there earlier in the trip, and Trey Jones jumped over the rail into the other side of the stairs. And I was
really?
This fucking rail is sick. And back in the day, Brad Sims gapped it, double pegged it, and I think a hot minute or something, whatever. But that was dope. And I was like, man, I would really like to gap hanger this thing, but that kink is almost facing up. And I was like, I'm gonna cut that thing off. And I talked to Wes about it, and I was just like, yeah, let's go there and cut that kink off, and then tomorrow I'll fucking go hang it. And he's like, I'll drive you there right now. And I was like, 2 o'clock in the morning, we drove out there in the middle of the night, fucking removed the kink off of it. And the funny thing is he sat in his spot where he was gonna shoot the photo. He fisheye, he's just sitting there. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot from right here. I'm like, hell yeah, that'll look G, Next day the next day we come down, and I gap double pegged it a few times, and then finally I was like, I'm gonna do it right now, and I ended up getting a flat. I was like, fuck, I got a fucking slow leak or something. So I had to go to the car, get a new tube, put a new tube in. And as soon as I got back, I was like, it's going down right now. I cannot wait any longer because I'm just getting more nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if Wes just missed the cue or what, but I just turned around and I was like, here it comes, and I hanged it, and fucking he had his camera set up at long, he was walking to, I don't know where he was walking to. He was just he just didn't know. I think he thought I was just gonna gap double peg it again, and then he'll have a chance to figure it out. But I don't know, moments like that, it's it's got to go down. I was like, it's the last day of the dance trip.
Always the photographer holding you up. Because the video camera takes 2 seconds to set up, and the fucking flashes.
It's weird, sometimes that's the most nerve-wracking part, is just waiting for, everything to, finally be perfect so you can go down, especially for, the more of, the one-hitters, you know what I mean?
Are you still super motivated to do scary stuff at this point in your life?
Yeah, definitely.
He's just like, oh,
more
yeah.
than ever, especially out here in being in Los Angeles. I got a scooter now. I'm always driving around. We're always riding around. I'm always finding new rails, new ledges, and I'm always looking for gap to things. And it's just, we got such a squad with us every day. It's Ty, it's Steve-O, it's Aaron, it's fucking Sean, it's Little Sean, and Hoder, and all these dudes are trying to get so buck all the time, and they're all doing this professionally, so they have to stay on a schedule that's if you're going out riding, you're not getting buck, you're kind of weak, you know what I mean? So it's just that's the way the squad works, and they got little homies coming up, little Rocco's coming up, and it's Boss, watching him work his way into the crew and hang out and getting stack his clips for the trip tape and his Verde promo, and it's awesome, working into that and shit. It's really fun.
Talk a little bit about you had a crash and you almost died.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Yeah.
Point the mic right at your head.
Sorry.
Talking into the side
think it was-
sounds bad.
I don't know what year it was, but it was a Memorial Day, and I was filming with my homie Doug, and it was like a Sunday morning, and we were fucking out early, and I was just like, I think there was a school with a bunch of king tan rails, and I was trying to get down on them. You know, we were there riding. My homie Travis, I don't know if you saw the whole From Nothing video, but he did this crazy grind to hop over into this steep bank at the same school, you know, and I kind of was like, I want to get something down here, you know what I mean? And like, I climbed on the roof, and I'm like looking at this like roof to grass gap, and I was just like, man, this probably wouldn't be too bad, you know? It's just like, just dropping in, you know what I mean? And I was just all hyped to get a clip, and like, I guess I kind of just like rushed into it, but my homie Doug got on the roof. He had his fucking wide angle fisheye lens, and he's like, whoops, fucking sick. And I was just like, went down. It was like gravel, and I turned around and started pedaling back, and like, just like, here it goes. You know what I mean? And fucking like, I don't know, like the gravel on the roof was had a little lip at the end of the roof to kind of keep the gravel on the roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I'm like pedaling towards it, you know, it's not a big deal riding on the gravel, but when I went off, that my front tire hit the little bump, and it put my bike like up in my like stomach, almost like a tabletop, like literally. And I like pull it back, and then like as soon as I hit the grass, both my feet fall off, and like bars turn, and they went like I went like 3 inches into my stomach like this way, and then turned 30 degrees and ripped out. And I lost like 2 pints of blood, and like I was just laying there like holding my stomach, like pretty much like pouring out blood. And like luckily my homie Doug and all the homies there like, you know, helped me keep pressure on it, and the fucking ambulance got there in time and fucking rushed me to the hospital. I think I got like 20 stitches and like 9 staples to hold it all together.
And how long were you off your bike for?
You know, just a few, like maybe a couple months for that. You know what I mean? It was more just like the amount of blood loss, and just like where the main artery in your leg is, and it's just like if you tear that thing, you know, you'll bleed out really fast. And I only had a partial tear, so it like seemed like I was like bleeding profuse, like really like a ton. You know what I mean? So I don't know, like that shit was crazy. And it's just like, you know, random incidences. You know, just you never know how you're.
You live, you learn when you ride like a fucking savage, I guess.
Did you have bar ends?
I don't think so.
Never.
I don't think so at that time.
I don't have them on right now.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to tell that story, because every time I see no bar ends on, I think of that story with Tony.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know if they even would have saved me at this point, because it's just like what happened was I landed in grass, but when the bars turned, they went into concrete on the basketball courts, and I just like my whole body got like
Pole vaulted.
picked up and like thrown over the bike. You know what I mean?
I used to have a photo of Tony Neyer's broken leg on my phone that I would show people to fucking gross them out. It's like, hey, you want to see something disgusting? And just point it at them as like the kind of thing that you couldn't look at it without wanting to puke.
That was that East Portland trip. That shit was.
There's no footage of that fall because you were just doing a little Smith 180 on a flat ledge,
well,
right?
I was with Will Stroud. That was the last day of the trip, and I was like, you know, I was like, Will, I want to get this clip. So me and Will left the house like just ourselves early, and like went to go try back to the school to get this line. And the jam was at like 3 o'clock at like Goods, and we got there at noon. And pretty much I spent the whole 3 hours like trying to get this line, and like literally like just like the jam had already started. I was like already like an hour late. Me and Will was supposed to be filming it. I was like, fuck it, let's just go to the jam. You know what I mean? And like as soon as I get to the jam, I like drop in. I like do a feeble. I go up to the quarter. I sit down. And I drop in again. I do a Smith. I'm going to go Smith 180, and I just like rotated soft and like didn't even like do anything. I just stepped off, and like as soon as I put my foot down, it just broke in half, and like literally.
His
What
leg
did that
was
feel
like?
like?
A fucking
What did that
S.
feel like?
I land, and it like I was like I like didn't even like make him. I didn't even know what the hell happened. I like rolled over, and like Corey Martinez is like right in front of me, and he's like, "Yo, you all right?" And I was like, I think I broke my ankle, and I rolled over, and my whole leg just like flopped. Oh. You know? And it was a compound fracture, so the bone was like coming out again. I'm bleeding. You know, kids are everywhere. It's just like,
Oh man,
that shit was pretty funny.
Was that the most painful thing you've ever felt in your life?
I think tearing my knee was like one of the most painful things I've ever had in my life. You know,
it's never really the pain. It's more just the crushing realization of what happened. Because you
can break bones, and you know, the second you get surgery, you're on your way to health. You know, you tear a ligament, you gotta like win a doctor over on the idea that your fucking ligament's torn and that you probably need surgery, and they're like, you know, oh, okay. So it's like those processes end up taking like 9 months, and it's just like it's just such a downtime. You know what I mean? And just like at least for the bone shit, like that thing was zipped back together, and the next day I was already on my way to recovery. 3 months later, I was riding again. A month later, I was in England on crutches. Like, you know, it's the same thing Hoder's going through right now.
When you're hurt, what do you usually turn to keep yourself occupied?
I don't know. I definitely spend more time just if I'm hurt, just like drinking mad juice. If I'm like that leg, I just sat on my parents' back deck and just juiced for fucking a whole month straight.
You still love juicing?
Yeah, I love it. Actually, it's
He was on a juice kick before anybody.
I know. I remember.
He
He's the
was.
one that made me and Chris Long get it, and I think Chris Long still has that fucking machine we brought. I want to get another one.
it's good for you,
was
man.
again. We always talk about the greatest years of our life. That year at the OSS house when Tony moved in with us.
Kind of lost my
With
mind.
the mic right in your mouth.
That was
Tony Neyer, yeah, and that's what's interesting is that well, you said it to me in the bar the other day. You were like, "Hey, I used to be angry as fuck," right? So like, I think you were saying to Brennan,
Yeah,
and you
see the
Brennan, you were
homies
like,
getting mad at their girlfriends. And
you were like, "How mad was I?" I was like, "You were fucking angry. You were always angry," and you
Yeah.
were like, "I'm not like that right now. I swear."
yes, I'm one of those dudes that needs to stop drinking rum. You know what I mean?
Oh, so
I
it was
don't
the rum
drink
or was it the girl?
Definitely the girl. But at the time, I was definitely like, Belle was coming over with bottles of rum. And everyone was just hanging out. And, like, I didn't even know that like it makes me a complete asshole. So I was just like, now I'm like, I don't fuck with rum at all, and I don't fuck with arguing with my girl anymore. That's
Rum
just, like-
specifically, it's not really all types of alcohol.
Yeah,
Rum
it's
does
definitely
it.
just for me. Yeah, rum. I definitely stay the hell away from it. You could turn me the hell up with some rum, dude.
So what's a good memory you have of the OSS house
Oh my
when you
God.
first moved to California?
Just always sitting in the living room or just chatting bullshit, constantly talking shit.
Like a
There's
constant
so
talk
many-
show, the most ridiculous
Yeah,
conversations at
so
all
many
times.
people with an opinion in one room all the time. Like
That was a crew, dude.
Chris Long, you know what I mean?
my
It's
God.
just like, and then the little homies rolling through, like Long Beach.
Shout out
Is,
to Jose.
Long Beach is great. Yeah.
Lavelle, that's how we met Lavelle, is because he was like 16, 15, and he used to
Yeah.
go to this like CVS every day and like fucking, he would come over and ask us like, "Yo, you guys need liquor? You need bottles?"
Every day he would do.
And there would always be somebody that was like, "Yo, give me a bottle of JD. I'll give you $10." Because it's like $30 in the store, and like he would go and he would get it and he would come back and sell it to us. And one day he was leaving, and this all seemed kind of innocent
These
up until
dudes
this
were
point.
so scared this day, dude. Like Chris is crawling on the ground, like they thought the cops were coming.
Chris sends him to get a bottle. He goes to get it. The fucking manager runs out after him. And I don't think it was Lavelle. I think it was Day-Day.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Day-Day just goes, "Fuck you." Boom. Knocks
him.
the fucking manager out
Yeah.
cold in the parking lot and then just
Oh
takes off to
my
our
God.
house.
Yeah, it shows up at our crib, and he's like, "Yeah, man, like hook it up too, because you don't know what I had to go through to get this bottle."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?"
And,
Like,
and there were a couple people who were standing on the balcony thing, and the fucking cops drive by all slow. And the cop says to one of them, he goes, "Hey, what apartment number is this?" We're like, "Oh, 757. He's like, "All right," just drives off. And as that happened, Chris Long drops and hits the ground with the bottle and
gets
is like
the whiskey,
shimmying
and
like he's in the
army
fucking
calls me in
Vietnam.
the back room, and like I come back in, like, "Yo, where's that bottle at?" And he's like, "Oh, I hid it in your room." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Yo, the cops are outside." I was like, "What, they fucking know we did something?" Like,
I want to know why the cops knew even to ask us. That was pretty crazy.
I think that was just them doing routine for the house. The house looked so hot. There's like 5 people hanging out the window.
But the cops never
There's a
came up
mattress
into
in
the house
front
one
yard.
time.
Never.
And little did they
Never.
know it was like a
We
fucking
threw-
drug haven for we had people coming through doing
We threw
all
a
kinds
big,
of crazy
big
shit.
screen TV out the window. The
And
cops
2
never
couches.
showed up.
2 couches, yep.
They were scared. I think the Mexican mafia was paying them off because the gang members underneath us.
The next
They were cool with us. You know what? One thing I saw that was real fucked up is that people were throwing water balloons out the window, and Sean Moore just rolls up all happy, nice day, just gets nailed with a fucking water balloon, and it destroyed his iPhone on the spot. And I forget who it was, but they were just like, I don't,
Dude, water balloons definitely popped off at the spot, dude, because we had the up top advantage,
God.
dude. You just, when people are coming home, it's like, all right, he's home, like, let's set up.
ruin your
Just
whole
like-
summer. There's a scene where they're throwing water balloons at Catfish, and the old Mexican guy downstairs is working on his car, and you see the balloon hit the ground and it splashes all
Almost
over him.
positive I threw that.
Yeah, probably.
I miss my traps. I miss setting traps. Just
Pots and
pans.
One time a girl was over the house and she was super drunk and she was trying to leave because we were all making fun of her, and she went to leave and she walks right into Rich Hirsch's room and he's just on his computer, and she just is like, and we all screaming, "Get the fuck out of here." And I just remember that there was a disco ball, and as she was like fleeing the house, I just whipped the disco ball out the fucking window, and I can't throw her shit. It went by her head by like an inch. Like I would have knocked a girl out with a disco ball if that had hit. Like I got really lucky there.
We had some times in that
Shout out
apartment.
to Paul.
Hey,
Shout out to Paul.
what can you tell us about your friend Aaron Brenner here?
He's the man,
He's
dude.
kind of quiet. You might not want to do the talking
he's,
for him.
dude, he's fucking the homie that holds it all together for us. He's like at the, for tip and everything. He was running the team side of it. He's the one that planned all the trips and kept us like on the road.
That's how
know
you
what
guys
I mean?
became friends?
Nah, I mean we became friends, dude. He'll tell you the story of how we became friends. I was losing my damn mind. I was
Back in LB, or
it was on the first. It was on the first trip. Ty had flown me to North Carolina to come hang out with everybody and like film for the trip video. And we ended up going to Raleigh one day, and we're all like riding, and like all of our cell phones either dead or whatever. Me and Brenner and the homie got split up, and
we spent a whole day pedaling around Raleigh, like looking for these dudes, and Tony was just losing his mind, like, fuck this, where are these fucking dudes at? This is my first day meeting Tony. I'm like, I don't know, man, we'll find them. Like,
because it's like, everyone's riding, and it's just like, oh, check this out, and then 2 seconds later, you lost 13 people.
It's my life.
I was like,
that's my
what?
life.
And
so what did we do before cell phones?
I had a cell phone then. My cell phone was in the bag. My cell phone was with the crew, so I didn't even have my own phone. And like, I didn't know all the homies we were with, and I didn't, whatever.
Yeah, what do? Do you go back to the spot where you lost everybody? Do you go back to the car?
We cruised this whole city. We even passed the school they were at, like, you know what I mean? And like, dude, it was just like me and Brenner just heard me rant for like go off for like an hour and a half. It was funny as shit.
Do you think you have a temper? Is that like a real issue for you?
No, it's just like that particular situation. It was just more of like, like this sucks, because it's like we just drove to Raleigh. It was like an hour drive, and like within a half hour, like we were lost the entire day.
Yeah,
like we never got to even film or ride. Like it sucked. You know what I mean? I was just like, this sucks.
I hate that. When you're out riding, you always are trying to meet up. You ever notice that? You're always trying to make the group bigger. Like at certain times, you want to keep it small, but if there are other people, like you always just need to be together. You have this desire, and like a lot of times you don't even think about it, because you could be perfectly happy riding with 2 other people, but you just want to join up.
Group mentality, herd mentality, I believe it's called.
Oh, I love herding. Yeah. Well, what else can you tell us about Aaron Brenner?
He's the fucking mastermind of the block as of right now. Me and him are just going day to day. He's fucking badass at riding. He's cool to live with. Tons of fun. Definitely motivated.
Anything else that we should cover? Catfish, you got any other topics? The only other thing I have left on my list is have you ever had a split section for Sputnik with Tony Maloof that was edited to Tupac's Changes?
Yeah.
Because the answer is yes, and that's a bold song choice. That's all I want to say.
That was actually the first trip I ever got to like kick it with Miles. Miles and Maloof came to Cincinnati to hang out with me, and like literally like, I don't know, Miles was like Randy fucking Savage then, you know what I mean? He was like, probably like 19 acting 23, you know what I mean? He's just crazy, but me and him and Maloof just hung out in Cincy the whole week, and like, those dudes are fucking editors like crazy. They love that shit.
Like ballsy ideas for songs. Catfish, are you perusing the questions right now?
I am.
I'm gonna take a look as well.
A good one. How did you get into BMX?
I initially got into BMX, I guess, by like me and my older brother would build these little like time trial little dirt things in the backwoods. Literally, we would just make one point and like make a whole walk. It was like a walking trail that we turned into like a little BMX that you could ride your bike on it and shit. And you had to go all the way to the end and then like pedal all the way back, and they timed you. You know what I mean? And we know not everybody had bikes, so everybody just shared one and did the race and came back, and we would time them like. So it was kind of like that. But then my older brother could do like foot jam tail whips on like flat ground. Oh, yeah. So I guess a little bit of flat land. I fucking still can't do that trick. But he can hop right on my bike and do it every time. That's kind of funny. Yeah. My brother was always like kind of cruising on. That's how he got around, and he was like 3 years older than me. So I would always like pedal off after him, try to keep up. It ended up, just like kind of going and do my own thing. So
what's your favorite video part or favorite video?
Favorite videos probably Nowhere Fast, Dave Young, Eli Platt and Shook. Ian Schwartz and Shook, or Props Bio, I guess. Dave Jacobs, Intuition. Colin Winkelman, Intuition.
Just for the record, 3 different people commented saying that you look like Brock Rayford.
He doesn't.
I can see a vague resemblance, but it's not like...
Big bodies.
They're big guys. That doesn't hurt,
Here's a good one. How important is it for BMXers reaching older age to focus on health and trying to eat right to continue to feel and ride at their best?
I mean, if I could implement anything into these kids, their culture that they're doing right now, it's start stretching and start getting into more greens and healthier foods, because like realistically, like your body will last so much longer if you get to the end of this. Like, I've already learned all the lessons you will learn if you don't. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you don't do it, you're gonna learn that you're gonna need to at some point. So you might as well just implement it into your life now. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes you, more, confident and everything when you're woke up, stretched out, you're all fucking, you're eating healthy, you're just like, you put good in you, you get good out of you, you know what I mean?
Stretching. You don't need to fucking throw your back out like 3 times before you figure out that you need to stretch,
You don't always need surgery if you hurt your back, like stretching can fix it. Like JJ went through a lot of, challenges with trying to heal his back, and it's funny, like it changed his whole life on how he lives and eats now because of
his podcast comes out Wednesday.
Oh, awesome!
I'm pretty hyped on it. He talks about that stuff a lot, about how he got it better and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot of that when I was going through my knee rehab. Like, I had a really dope physical therapist that was like working for the Bengals and stuff. I went to college with him, so he he really put me on like a high intense physical therapy and kind of put my mind right on the food idea and stuff like that. Right. And hanging out with Ian Schwartz and Eli Platt back in the day, they always since I was a younger kid in the group, and I always just ate whatever back in the day, dude. I was on a My Creation trip in Montreal when I went vegetarian for a year and a half. Pretty much I ate a meatball sub at Subway, and then the whole day I was just riding around my stomach hurts, I can't even ride. And fucking Eli and Ian just gave me a speech, you gotta fucking stop eating this shit. This is not this is not you. You can be better than this kind of shit. So I was just fuck, I'll cut meat out. I'll try it. You know what I mean? I went. It was a beginner's vegetarian. I still ate meat. I still ate fish and cheese and stuff like that.
But are you vegetarian now still?
No, no. I definitely.
But you eat a lot healthier.
Yeah, I eat a lot healthier. I just incorporate a lot of greens into my diet, and I think protein's good for you, but you want to try to eat the most organic shit you can. You know what I mean?
Hey, this question is from different.
I'm definitely a hypocrite when it comes to food. I fucking eat anything.
Everybody, yeah. Well, that also a kid asked, why doesn't he like to eat ass? Which is, I wasn't gonna say that, but you just said I'll eat anything. So
just never got into it. I guess shit sucks.
It's like dirt, Just never give it a try. Different X-Pass. I really want to know why all the companies and sponsors he and his friends ride for make them look like hoodlums. Is that the image they're striving for? How does he want the BMX public to view him?
I mean, how can you not look like a hoodlum if you're hanging out at a spot and sitting on the ground? I think it's funny. A lot of
hoodlum
people
shit.
Won't even. They think it's disgusting to sit on the ground, but I don't know. I kind of like just hanging out in the middle of the city. You can always fucking take a shower, wash your hands. You know what I mean? It's not the germs at the end of the world, but it's. I think that's just how if you took a photo of BMXers, more than likely they're going to be in the middle of the city. And,
that's BMX culture. What does he want them to sit with fucking collared shirts at a spot?
Yeah, imagine how hard it would be to project a really clean cut image for all of us. I guess you kind of have to try to bullshit your way through it, right? You think Monster is making it an hour and 8 minutes into this podcast?
No.
Nah. Some girl said she wants you to pay her rent for her.
Yeah, I saw that actually. Someone else brought that up too.
I don't know who she is.
We got enough rents being paid, right?
She's always
Is she in Destiny's Child? Is she in Destiny's Child?
She could be from the picture.
Pay my bills, pay my automobile. Is that Destiny's Child?
Yeah.
But look, some kid responded to her. If you can suck a dick good enough, I got you.
Yeah, the comments are pretty well.
And she responded, ew. So at least she wasn't into that idea. What's the key to longevity in a BMX career? This is from Patrick Kelly. We just did one with him.
Yeah, just eating healthy and stretching out and just being as cool with the homies as possible. Just trying to be easy to work with. And it seems like an industry like this, it's there's a lot of people really good, but it's a lot of people trying their best to make it happen. So making it easy as possible for everybody just to do it is the best. You go on a trip, fucking man up and get your shit done. Try to stand up and film. Don't have to act like it's a party the whole time. We all do it out here and there, but it's it is at the end of the day, it is a job, and you got to fucking take it serious. And
What inspires you?
My friends, dope angles, good photos. Watching people do anything that's sick. Riding's so crazy. I've been riding since I was 12, and just watched it develop in so many different ways that it's just at this point, it's amazing, and that's why we're doing the block. That's why we're creating more brands. We don't want to do as much as we can. It's I love this industry, and I'm hyped to be here. So it's just for me going in, I'm 29 years old now. I'm going to be 30 at the end of this year, and it's just I'm hyped to fucking be able to do more for the community, I guess.
Well, that's a good thing about BMX is that there's not a whole lot of money in it, so we can usually trust the motivations of people involved in it, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it, I think. And I can't believe you're 29. I still think of you as like 18.
He's 29 and he was on like the shook little kids trip.
Is that amazing?
That makes me feel old as fuck.
That makes me feel.
Yeah, you were already
you
like
were on the pop-up before.
I'm
you know
a
what I mean?
thousand.
When I first met
I'm a
you.
thousand.
you were
years old.
literally in a frat.
I hope
when that came out.
I die before this is over. I want to die on a podcast.
Speaking of dying, can we mutilate and torture you on camera?
Please bury me under the gas station across the street.
How should we end this? What do we need to talk about? Got
Ohio.
the new business?
Talk about Ohio. I mean, growing up in Ohio because it's I'm biased.
I feel lucky to be born and raised in
Absolutely.
Cincinnati. Like, dude, I can't get over. At the time when I got into riding, the scene was amazing. We had Matt Bischoff really fucking helping everybody get together. DK was fucking promoting a lot in the city and like doing other things. DK Dirt Junk was all going on, and like the few skate parks that were in the state of Ohio, and like the people that were there were very outgoing, and like they definitely helped people from Ohio get out of Ohio and back to Ohio. And I think like that really helped me, learn to like try new things and be outgoing, and it really helped me advance my BMX career, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky you came from a fucking scene that was pretty outgoing.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to be said for that. Like there's probably a shitload of people who got really motivated by just the richness of the culture.
That's what psychs me so much hearing these guys come in here and say that not only they open a shop, they want to do events. They want to do that, bring that back to kids.
Yeah. You gotta have outlets for these dudes to go do something. You gotta have them something to talk about.
Agreed.
It's just,
I think BMX in LA is pretty fucking amazing right now, but I do think that like we'll probably look back at this conversation in like 2 years and be like, yo, remember? Like, it felt like shit was just starting to take off then in a weird way.
God, I hope we're in Vegas with bottles of Dom each, and we're just remember that shit we're doing.
No, in 2 years, there's going to be an RIP Catfish poster on the wall. Remember when Catfish was on the show? Oh, yeah. RIP.
This old ass died.
Miss that guy.
How'd he die? Feeble in the Staples Center ledge.
He went to feel this rail and he didn't look, and there were caps on it, and just
Yep.
that was
he
it.
was going in cross-footed and
R.I.P.
didn't come out the same.
He was going in cross-footed. All right, I think. All right, we need to get out of the goodbyes out of the way so we can go see Hoder at the bar, right?
Yeah, good.
It's Edwin's birthday.
Hoder and Edwin.
Happy
The bar
birthday,
next door is
Edwin.
called King Eddie's. Edwin walks up, he goes, "Yo, they named the bar next door after me, huh?"
Who do you want to thank? Send some shout outs.
I want to thank Primo, Verde, Dance Comp, The Trip, Peep Game, Brass Underwear, Raw Foods,
Raw Papers.
Catfish, my parents, fucking Aaron, you, fucking, anybody that helps me, honestly. Like anybody in Long Beach at the time that put me on a couch when I was coming up and, having me out there. I went to San Diego. I stayed on Garrett and Ty's floor for 6 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like really people fucking hooked me up, and I'm really appreciative of it, and definitely always been trying to give back for that reason alone. So
I just want to say on a personal level, it's seriously an honor to have watched. Like I said, I've known him for so long. But the one thing that I can say about Tony is that he's never lost that drive. Like he is always he's always going a million miles an hour.
Well, look at that toothpick.
Everything. He puts 100.
Wait till my parents get out here.
He puts 150% into everything
really
he does,
pop
and
off.
it's such an honor to be able to sit here and watch this kid that I met at a fucking skate park in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, to watch him grown up and done everything he's accomplished, and now he's starting this new venture. Man, I'm seriously just so pumped for you, dude. Like I could not. I seriously,
for real.
seriously.
For real,
Well
yeah.
said.
I appreciate tons of things that Catfish has done for me over my career. Definitely always put in a good word for me. That alone just does so much in a small scene like BMX. It's just like you don't want to brush too many shoulders. You don't want to burn too many bridges. You just want to.
Well, you do want to brush shoulders.
Yeah.
Brush shoulders. That's a
Brush
good
your
thing, I
shoulders
think.
off. But again, like we always say, like if you're an asshole, you can be the best rider in the world. If you're an asshole, you're not going to get anywhere. And another great human being right here.
Beautiful.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Aaron Brenner.
What's up?
Not huge with the words on this, but
He's
He's the brains of the operation.
He's making the shit happen.
He's the brains of the
That's
operation.
how it goes.
out here in LA.
So anybody out there, you guys can come out to the block and
Yep,
see
1108
these guys.
North Kenmore. Bring anybody. Come all the time.
Check out the
We're
flat rail.
Follow
I need to go
Flat
ride
rail,
the flat
free
rail.
food.
Here's their Instagram right here.
Yeah, at Tony Neyer, at Aaron Brenner.
The first
follow
night
the
I-
trip, follow Peep Game.
You want to know a funny story about the block? Is the first night I was there, I was with this girl and I met her off of Tinder, and she showed up in the Uber like 10 minutes before, and then I'm standing there talking to Robbie, and I go, Robbie, this is whatever the fuck her name was, and he's just like, he's like, oh yeah, we've met before. She goes, no, we haven't. So love can happen at the block. You never know. It can really happen anywhere.
Yeah, I'm in love with the block, that's for sure. That's why we have the shop where it is. Like, I've definitely done some psychedelics, but it made me feel like I never want to leave. So.
Oh, we're gonna end with the jazz noises as well. Of course. Play me out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. This has been the Tony Neyer podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
I hope this doesn't show up on YouTube as being like a famous jazz musician already played this song or whatever.
YouTube makes it quiet.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate all you guys.
Thanks for coming out, guys.
Take care, guys.
Riders.
Laters.
That was awesome. That was fucking awesome. Fucking killed it. Dude, that
All right, here we go. I just want to start off with a little warning that Alfredo was doing some painting within the store earlier. So if I say anything irrational or weird or anything like that, or if JJ or Scott says anything strange,
It's just the fumes.
yep, feel free to just blame it on the paint. I came up with that slogan earlier, blame it on the paint.
Nice.
What do you think?
Nice. It could work.
So what have you guys been up to the past couple of days?